Welcome. Now let's continue our journey of Islamic laws of inheritance through this practical guide. Next is the scenario of a lost person. Now, lost person is a person whose whereabouts are not known. And it is not possible to know that is the person still alive or are they dead. Now, if the circumstance is such that there is more chance of the person being alive, you will favor that. If the circumstance is such that there are more chances of the person is dead, then probably that is something that people can favor, but there are certain rules and regulations around it. The general rule is that you will save the share of the lost person. In every person who dies in the family and you're calculating inheritance, you will keep on saving the share of the lost person as if the person is still alive, until the point that either the lost person is found and you hear about it, or you learn that, okay, the person is actually alive, or they're found, or they're back home, or they are known to be dead. Someone says that, okay, well, they died on a certain date, or this is what happened to them on a certain time, and this is when they died, or approximately around this time they were dead. So assume that date as the date of their death, and see whatever shares you have saved for them before that will go to them, and then from their death it will go to their heirs. The third one would be if the local court declares a person dead, because maybe the circumstance was such in which they got lost, or it has been such a long time that they now assume that the person is dead. In that case, you will now consider them dead, and you will use the date on which they were lost or misplaced as the date of their death. So using that date as your mark, you will do all the calculations of other relatives' heirs and other relatives' calculations, and the calculation of that person's own property as well. Now let's say that you are in this ambiguous phase in which you know that the person is missing, but no one knows if they're dead or alive. So how do we deal with the inheritance during this phase? First step would be to calculate assuming that the lost person is alive. And the second step would be, in each scenario, we'll assume as if the lost person is dead. Both scenarios will give you different types of shares, because that person might change the shares of other relatives in the family. In this both, you'll make the denominators the same in both calculations, and then reserve the maximum amount that you see in both scenarios for the lost person in case they come back. So let's take an example that Aisha died in 2020, leaving behind a daughter, a son, and one real brother. Now the son has been lost before Aisha died, and it's not known if they're alive or dead. So scenario one would be if the son is alive. So Aisha has a daughter, a son who is lost, and one real brother. And the shares will be daughter and son will share the property with 2:1. So son gets 2 parts, daughter get 1 part, and then the total denominator is 3. Real brother does not get anything. Scenario 2 is that son is dead. We're assuming the son is dead. In this, the daughter gets half, and the rest of the half goes to the real brother, and we will see that out of 4, they will get 2 and 2. Now we are dealing with 3 and 4 as the denominators. Let's make them one denominator, and the common number would be 12 over here. So the 12 will become the denominator, and in scenario 1 we see that 8 parts would have gone to son. In scenario 2 we see 0 parts go to son and 6 go to the real brother. So how do we distribute it now? What we will do is that we will give daughter her 4 parts, and we will reserve the 8 parts for right now until some declaration is made about the lost person, until we figure out that person is dead, or the court declares him dead, or the person comes back. So this is how you can deal with this scenario, and again consult your local scholars and local muftis for helping you in these matters.